Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name's April and today we're going to be talking about makeup that I love but I never use for one reason or another. Most of these are in a range from like e.l.f. to like high end. I mean, I have IT Cosmetics, Pure, Wet n Wild, e.l.f. like I said, so it doesn't really have a specific price point. So let's get into it. I think I have like around 15 products, maybe a bit more, probably a bit more. Anyway, so first, a product that I love but I never use is the e.l.f. Poreless Face Primer. It kind of has the same vibe of something that I actually love a little bit more, which is the No Problem Primer from, I think, Touch in Sol. Yeah, Touch in Sol. And the reason I like this one better is actually it's a bit more hydrating, but when I want my pores filled in more, I go for this. It's still a bit more hydrating, and I'm actually wearing it today. But I just don't go for it because I usually go for a more heavier moisturized look, so this one would be more up my alley, but I do really like it still when I want that vibe. Next is the Pure Foundation Stick. It's got very gorgeous packaging, and I'm wearing this today as well. And I like it, but it is extremely matte. Like, I usually, if I want to wear this, I always put a moisturizer underneath usually, except from today, because it is so matte, just like most stick foundations. Now, usually what I go instead of is the Wet n Wild stick foundation, because it is much more hydrating than the other one, but I will either mix this with an oil or I will put a heavy moisturizer underneath, and it looks so good and so flawless. It totally blurs your pores into perfection. I just don't reach for it because especially around my nose, I get really bad dry patches. I mean, you could probably even see it now because I didn't actually mix it today, that it does accentuate somewhat, but it still looks pretty darn poreless. It just can accentuate dry patches. Next is the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define Concealer. I don't like this under the eyes, and I'm not actually wearing it today. I'm wearing something different, but the reason I don't like this under the eyes is because it makes it really like dry, and like I look like 10 years older than I actually am whenever I wear it. But I like cutting my crease with this. I just don't use it that often because, I mean, I don't usually do cut creases that often, but if I'm going to do a cut crease, I use this solely, usually. And then next is a liquid highlighter. It's the Cover FX Drops in, what shade? Moonlight. This is just too dark for me. I love how it looks, and I probably wouldn't buy another shade because they are expensive. They're $42 a piece, so I would only buy them if they were on a ridiculous sale. I got it as a gift from my friend, and I love it. Sometimes I'll actually use like a very slight amount as like a very luminous bronzer, and then I'll put like a more matte bronzer on top of it, and it looks really pretty. It's just an extra step that if you're like going out the door, going to work or anything, or school, it's hard to like make that extra effort, especially with bronzer. Next is a setting powder. It's the Rimmel Stay Matte powder in, what shade? Sandstorm. It is a good match for me, I would say. It's a little dark, but I'm also wearing kind of a darker foundation. I'm wearing Maybelline Dewy and Smooth. I mean, like, even you can see it's pretty dark, so I usually, because of how pale I am, I usually wear things that are darker anyway. But the reason I don't usually use this anymore is because it's pretty matte. I mean, that's the theme, that everything is a little bit more matte than what I usually go for. It doesn't mean I don't like it, I just usually don't go for it. But what I usually use instead is the Bare Minerals Bare Pro pressed foundation, and mine's looking really ugly. But I use this because it's got a much more dewy finish than this. But if I want something matte and I'm not already using this or already using this, I will go for it. It's really good, and it makes your makeup last a extremely long amount of time. Next, I have two blushes, one drugstore and one high-end. The first one is the IT Cosmetics Ombre Radiance blush, and I don't really have a reason why I don't usually use this. I do like it. It blends beautifully, and it's a radiant blush, just like I like. But you can also make it more matte by just going down deeper into the pan. I think I like my NARS blushes better, because they just blend better on my cheeks, which, I don't know, most people don't think that, but I do. And it's not like the best color. Like, it's more of a, I would say, wintry color, and it is pretty intense. I mean, you can definitely sheer it out, but I just don't think it's like a color that I wear very often. And then next is actually a blush that is completely destroyed. I have had to repress this. I used to use this all the time. It's Wet n Wild's Color Icon Blush in Mellow Wine. I used to use this all the time. I just don't anymore. Like I said, I think I've gravitated towards my NARS blushes anyway. They're just my favorite. And then I also like this Pure blush that I got not that long ago, and it has much more radiant finish. But this is definitely a good option from the drugstore. I just don't go for it that much anymore. Next, I don't have any bronzers that I don't usually use. I don't really buy that many bronzers. I mean, I use the Hoola bronzer and then the It Cosmetics bronzer that's in the same line as this blush. That I actually use that all the time. It's gorgeous. But those are really the bronzers that I only really ever use. For highlighters, I mean, it's supposed to be limited edition, but you can still find it on Wet n Wild's website, so I don't really think it's limited edition. It's the Mega Glow Highlighting Powder in Lilac to Reality. It is very blue and very pretty. The reason I don't use this is because it can texture my cheeks, but it is still very pretty. I do use makeup that would go along with this look beautifully all the time. I would just hazard a guess that I would just use something different, probably a Jeffree Star highlighter. Not necessarily that it's not a good option, it's just not what I go for. And then next, not to hound on Wet n Wild, but next to eyes are my 3 Wet n Wild eyeshadow palettes. And I have Rosé in the Air, which is a dupe for the Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance, and then Not a Basic Peach. And then I have Nude Awakening. This is actually the one I use the most, because even though it's cool toned, because I also have the Urban Decay Naked Smoky palette, and this is actually a really good dupe for that as well. And you can't find the Urban Decay Naked Smoky anymore, and this is almost a perfect dupe for it. Besides, it doesn't have the blue tones, which I don't use very much anyway in that palette. But this is a gorgeous cool tone palette. I just don't use it all the time because, I mean, it's during the summer. I mean, I'm not usually wearing cool tone looks. I'll probably use it more during the fall, basically with all of these. For Not a Basic Peach, the reason, I want this open. The reason I don't use this is because, I don't know, the blue kind of throws me off. I don't really like it when they just chuck in a colorful to be colorful, like either be colorful or be neutral or have like half and half, not just like one shade. And then this shade right here, like you'd think it'd be like a beautiful transition color and it'd go beautifully in the crease, but it has like this micro glitter in it, and I don't really like how that is. But all the other shades are gorgeous. Just that one peach shade and then the blue shade just makes me not want to reach for it as much, even though all the other shades are completely beautiful and everything. Now then, Rosé in the Air. Now, like I said, these are beautiful palettes. Like, you don't feel like you need to get high-end palettes when you have this. I got this after I already had the Modern Renaissance. The Modern Renaissance was my first palette, actually. I bought that before I had any other, like, drugstore or anything. So it's near and dear to my heart. So if I want to go for a vibe like that, I'm not going to reach for this. Even if it is great quality and I love it, it's just, I would rather go for something that has such a nostalgic feel for me, and I've already loved that for so long. And it is better quality. I mean, you are paying that high price for a reason. So these are good. These 3 palettes are good. But if you're getting a higher end palette, they're probably going to blend better. I do think that the Nude Awakening one is actually better than the Naked Smoky. I forgot to mention that. Next are some eyeshadow singles. They're the Super Shock Shadows from ColourPop. Can't believe I said that correctly. I have an old one from the Amanda Steele collection that you can't even get anymore. It's called Ignition. It's kind of a purple shade. They probably have one that's very similar. And then I honestly bought these because they were for the No Kill LA collaboration in Bow Down and Puppuccino. I will say that I do use these the most. I usually don't use this one anymore. Mostly because this has actual glitter fallout, and I don't feel like I want to use a glitter primer. But it is very pretty, and then these two do have glitter fallout as well, so I usually use a glitter primer too, but it's just that added extra effort, and I usually like a more complicated look, so I would never use these as like one and done shadows. I usually use Bow Down in my inner corner, and it is gorgeous. It's just I don't want to bring out something else because I already have like my palette out. It already has shimmers in it, so like why would I want to go back into my drawer? Even if it's only 2 feet away from me, I just don't think to use them. And then I have the Superstar Loose Pigment from ColourPop as well. It's in the shade Cameo, and this shade is like a bright orange with like some gold shimmer in it. And I would definitely use this color. Like I use oranges and bright colors all the time. Like that's not the issue. It's just a pigment adds this like extra effort to your look that like I don't necessarily want to do all the time. Even though it's a shade that I would be using all the time and I love it, it's just not something that I can deal with all the time. And next is actually another eyeshadow palette, and also from IT Cosmetics. It's the Naturally Pretty palette. It's good, like obviously because it's in this video, because it's makeup that I love but I never use. It's just, there's no real shimmer in it. I mean, there's this Transforming Pearl shade, but it's not really, it just makes it like this nice sheen. Like it's not like metallic, it's just this like dewy sheen that adds to any of these, and I would usually use that on the inner corner. I use this palette whenever I want like an all matte look and like just a little touch in the inner corner of shimmer. And also it's not warm, it's not cool, it's neutral, which is fine. I usually go cool or warm, nothing usually in between. But it is a beautiful palette, and it's unique because it is neutral. It's not warm or cool. I mean, even the shade called Warmth really isn't all that warm, and then Mocha is like a cool tone brown, but like altogether it's more of a neutral palette, and you can make more neutral looks. And lastly, there are these 2 lip glosses from Anastasia Beverly Hills. Now one of them I obviously don't wear as much because it is purple and sparkly, and if I'm going for something like this, I would go for my Jeffree Star or something, or like just a liquid lip. It's just too much usually. It's too much usually for like just on its own, so I usually put on a liquid lip and then put this on top because it has like micro glitter in it, and it's pretty, but I just don't wear it because it's a little bit unwearable, in my opinion, even though I do wear purple lips all the time. And then this shade in Vintage, also the other one was in Venom. I'm actually not sure if you can get this shade anymore, but they have similar ones. And then the shade Vintage is gorgeous. It's this nice nude pink, and it matches like all of my other liquid lipsticks, but I actually go for my, my phone is like going off, but I would rather go for my Buxom ones because it's more of a clear gloss, which is what I prefer, instead of a super highly pigmented gloss when it's in like a nude form. I like White Russian from Buxom is like my favorite. I'm just gonna like chuck my phone out the window. White Russian by Buxom is my favorite lip gloss of all time. Then I also like the Ofra lip glosses that they just came out with, especially the one in it just shook my table, in Apricot Dream. I'm a mess at the end of this video. This in the shade Vintage, which I've probably said like 5 times now, is gorgeous, and it does actually have some micro glitter in it as well, but like I said, I'd rather go for a more sheer gloss on top of something that's more pigmented, or like a nude balm, kind of like what I'm wearing today. I'm wearing one from Stilazzi. It's like it's literally like my lip shade, but like just a little bit glossier, which is why I like that vibe, but I don't usually go for like a super, super highly pigmented, even though these two are gorgeous formula and they do last an extremely long time. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. I think that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, I think like 17 or 18 products that I love, but I like never use because like there's always a reason why you never use something you like that you bought. Like I bought these things, so like I want to keep them because I don't like to return things because I feel like so weird about returning things. I feel like I can't because I don't know, like no reason. I just don't like makeup to go to waste because I know they throw it away and all that. But I still love all this makeup and it's not bad and you could always make it work for you. And I mean, people with oily skin would love this. I mean, most of it is just, it's not the vibe I always go for, but it's still good. So when I want to have that vibe, I have those options there for me, so that's why I keep it. So thank you for watching my video. Please like and subscribe. My Instagram is April in 2_V, and then what is my Twitter? Anyway, I don't even know what my Twitter is anymore. I never use it. So yeah, go follow me on Instagram, April__V, and like and subscribe. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye.